Hey YouTube, welcome to my channel and welcome to the 8th episode of my 20-gallon fish tank. So it's been a couple of years since I made any video about my fish tank, and that's because it went from trying to find a day to make a video to not having any time to get to making a video. Then a lot of good things happened. I got married. I also have a kid now and got a new job. So been juggling a lot of things. Even though they're all good, but it's just I haven't had a chance to make any video, or I haven't had a chance to really think about what I want to talk about. A lot has changed over the past couple of years with my fish tank. If you look at my 7th episode on my 20-gallon fish tank, there's like barely anything in my tank. Everything's new. I have 2 clownfish in there. But a lot has changed, and I wanted to go over all of that, so let's get to it. So as the years progress, I've had a lot of issue with algae in my tank. There was a time where didn't have that much algae problem, but then adding new corals or adding a new fish into the tank caused a spike in algae. When I first, so back 2 years ago, I originally bought corals from Worldwide Corals. Most of those corals died off eventually, some of them sooner than others. The only one that really stayed, I would say, I think probably that last till about 3 months ago, were these zoas that I had. Out of the two order of zoas that I had, one order kind of like struggled in the first year to survive, or I would say first year. Well, actually, when I added a coral, it was probably like 4 or 5 months into having the tank. So I would say those probably last about 5 months, and then the other ones kind of like died off 3 months ago, and there was a reason why that happened. I did also got new livestock. So I got new saltwater fish. Originally I had the 2 Nemos. One Nemo died because I had a female maroon clown, and then also I had a black Ocellaris clownfish. So the maroon clown was obviously a lot more aggressive. It's just like a hate. I would say the relation was like a hate and love relationship. Since one is a female, one's a male. The female is the big one, the maroon clownfish. Some days she had good days with it. Some days she would harass the other clownfish. Eventually, one day, the black clownfish jumped out of my tank, and I found it dead on the ground. So that's how that one died. And then I so that was that. Then I did add some other fishes into my tank as well too. I did had a Watchman goby. I had a pistol shrimp. The pistol shrimp somehow disappeared. I don't know, something ate it. One of the fishes ate it, or what happened to it. But within 3-4 days of having, 2 days I would say, having it disappeared, and I did not know where it went. So I looked all over, been really looking and observing my tank for a week or so, trying to see where it went. Then eventually I made up my mind that something had either eaten it or it got smashed under a rock. I'm not quite sure what happened. I still never found it. So the Watchman goby got, I would say, probably got bullied by the maroon clownfish. I also had the, let's see what I had the cleaner shrimp. So the cleaner shrimp, I actually, it never had any issues. It lived the whole, for the whole time I had this tank. I did want to fight off the aptasia that I had in my tank, so I did buy a peppermint shrimp. And the problem is that the first peppermint shrimp I had no issue with my cleaner shrimp. My cleaner shrimp had no issue with that peppermint shrimp. But once, for some reason, I guess I did a water change, so I cleaned my tank, and I couldn't find that peppermint shrimp. And then one day I found like a little bit of piece of it, so I realized either something ate it or I may have accidentally smashed it while I was cleaning my tanks. Because at the time, I didn't glue my rocks. So that's another thing I'm going to talk about in my later videos of a mistake that you should never do. And then after that, let me see. Yeah, the peppermint shrimp, I tried to replace it with 2 more peppermint shrimps. They got harassed by the cleaner shrimp because they were a lot smaller. And so one by one, they disappeared. And then I finally gave it one more try and bought another cleaner shrimp. And that one also disappeared eventually. So I gave up on cleaner shrimp. Peppermint shrimps. These are all peppermint shrimps that all somehow disappeared. But my cleaner shrimp was like probably, I would say, I got it about, it was an inch big, and then I think it was about 4 inches long when I decided to give it up at Petco. But with losing all my peppermint shrimps, I regret doing that, because that was, I would say, one of the gems of my fish tank, of my saltwater tank. So that happened. And then I just neglected my tank for a while. I think I kind of got lost interest in the tank, and I think that happened because you don't see, if you're not doing regular water changes, you're not keeping up with cleaning your tank, you're not testing the water for nitrates, phosphates, and just to see everything's balanced, your salinity, your alkaline, your calcium and magnesium levels. If you're not doing none of those, you're not checking those levels in your tank, and that's some, then things can go bad. Some of the reason why maybe some of my corals did not survive, or some of them died out slowly, was because of the quality of my water. I'm not sure. I had corals in there were doing just fine, no issues. So it was hard to tell, and I was very optimistic. I think that was one thing I was overconfident about what I was doing with my tank. I would say until this, I would say probably 3 months ago, I did a huge water change on my tank because I had a lot of hair algae, and so my thought was I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to remove the rocks from my tank. I'm going to scrub them down with a toothbrush and try to get as much of that green hair algae off. So I did all of that, and I put my rocks in, and when I did that, another mistake I made, and that I don't do regularly, is check my water parameters. Check if the nitrates are in control, nitrites, phosphates, ammonia, my pH level. I did not do that. It's probably because I just was being very lazy about it. And it literally just takes no more than 10 minutes to do all those testings, but I didn't do that. And slowly but surely, some of my easy corals that I had. So I did have a waving hand Anthelia in my tank. which I got later. So I did get like a pack from Worldwide Corals for easy beginner corals like wavy Henanthelia. What else did I get? I got Pulsing Zinnia and then a couple others. Pulsing Zinnia always went through all the bad water parameters I ever had and stayed fine. And then Waving Zinnia did too, and they grew, a lot over the years. But for some reason, this water change made a huge spike in my nitrates, my ammonia levels, and everything. And I did not check the water parameters. And slowly, everything looked really bad. My cores were not opening up. My waving dahlia started losing some parts, or some of them started to die off the actual colony. And so, okay, this does not look correct. This does not look good. So what I did was, then I went ahead and I did check my parameters, and well, my nitrates were really high. My ammonia level were high. Everything was bad, and I was like, okay, crap. Like, I gotta fix stuff. And so, and even the zoas that I had, those slowly died off too. That's how bad my water was. And zoas like dirty water, for what I've learned about them. And they went through everything, but this time they did not survive. So I went ahead, got myself beneficial bacteria, did my 10% water changes every 2-3 days to bring the levels down. And slowly I got everything controlled. That was, I think, the turning point for me. And after doing that, things for my tank started to look more positive. So I will show you my tank. But if you look at my update in my seventh update versus now, you see how much difference there is. And a lot of the changes in this tank, I have a lot of cores in here that I just added in within the past 3 months. After I did after the mistake that I made. After I fixed it, I resolved the issue, I brought my parameters down to where they should be. I got them in control, and that's when I started adding new corals. And I started buying them from my local fish store. So everything now, the way it looks is because I increased my water changes, the frequency of my water changes. I used to do it every week and a half. And I feel like increasing the frequency of the water changes made a huge difference in how my corals do. I have a 20-gallon tank, so it's technically a nano tank. And so parameters change faster in these nano tanks than they do in a big aquarium, like over 100 gallons. So yeah, and my tank is doing a lot better. It's a lot control. I still don't I don't check my parameters regularly, and that's one thing I still need to work on. But when I see anything that doesn't look as good as I would like it to be, then I do a water change. But I usually do 2 at least water changes in a week, if not 3. And so I see a huge difference by doing water changes more frequently. I do about 30 to 40% water change on my tank. So there's a lot I'm going to talk about in my next videos and my next updates. So I want you to make sure you guys keep a lookout for my next videos. But let's go ahead and take a look at my aquarium currently and how it's doing. So this is my tank after 2 years progress. I would say out of the 2 years, 1 year was getting my tank stable to a point where it can handle and where my corals can be in an established environment, besides the mistakes that I made. So, but this is currently how my tank looks, and it's doing very well. This is probably the healthiest my tank has ever been. And this is because of the changes that I've made in the way I take care of my tank and how I, give more attention to my tank. Now, this is a lot. I have a lot more corals. Also, I have given away a couple of fishes as well. So I only have 2 fishes in here, and they're both fishes that you have not seen in my past videos. So let me go ahead and just kind of go over the livestock that I have. So I have this waving anthelium coral. Now, this was a smaller frag, like that. This, I would say, like 3 of these heads right here. That's it. It grew this big over these 2 since I bought this. So I would say I bought this about a year ago. This is a year worth of growth, and that was all the bad water quality and everything that I had was going on in this tank. So that's that. And I used to have the maroon clownfish. I just gave it away. There was not really anything wrong with the maroon clownfish as in health wise, but it was about, I think it grew 3 times its size that I bought it as. So I would say it was about 4 inches long, about 2 inches tall. I don't know if you could say it that way, but yeah, it was pretty big, and it was causing havoc in my tank, throwing sand all over the place, burying my corals under the sand, throwing sand on my corals, harassing other fishes. The fishes that I have right now in the tank were getting along with it because they're also aggressive. They can hold their own. But my corals, I had trouble adding new corals, and so I had to get rid of it. And that was just something I had to make a decision on. And if I do an upgrade in the future, I probably would be okay with giving it away anyways, because I want to change up the livestock that I have, and I don't want that to be part of the new livestock, because I realize maroon clownfish are too aggressive. That's not something I want in my tank. Then I have these new zoas that I picked up from my local local fish store. They are doing very well. This one right here, I would say has grown about 5 or 6 new heads. This one right here has grown probably 2 or 3 new heads. Okay. And then this is one of the fishes that I added probably a couple months ago. It's the neon blue Arabian dottyback. I thought it was a community fish, but nope, it is a complete bully. But I still like it though. It's cute and it's nice. I like the colors on it. I like those blue stripes on it, neon stripes on it. So I would say that's one of the nicest fishes I've ever had in my tank. Let's see, what else did I buy? Okay, I bought a Duncan coral. This is also from my local my fish store. So to let you know something, that I bought these corals. These corals the new one that I added in here did not look like these. I think they were not in these. Their conditions were not that great when I bought them. I really had to baby them to make them look the way they are. So that was Duncan coral. I bought a Recordia mushroom from Rollite Corals. I just bought this about 4 days ago. What is it? The trumpet coral or the candy cane coral. It has two heads, one on the other side. You can't see it. I just also bought. Yeah, I just bought probably about a week ago. I bought this. I believe it's a Maxima clam, and it's thriving in my tank. It's doing very well, very healthy. It looks much better now than it did when I first bought it. I have I think it's like a long technical hammer coral, some form of hammer coral. It's a LPS. In the back, I have a multi-cap. I'm not exactly sure what kind it is, but that never grew. I'm not sure, maybe my light is just not good enough for it to grow more, but it's been the same size since I bought it, but it hasn't died yet. This is my green star polyp. This grew like crazy, I would say about 4 months ago, after the mishap with my tank. I fixed everything, this thing grew crazy. I would say it grew double the size since then. Let's see, what else do I have? So I have two acans up here. I have this red one. Then I also have, let's see if I can show you. I have a green blue acan. I have a toastu, much better looking than when I first got it. I have a flower pot coral, and there's another name, but not coming to my mind. But yes, this is very beautiful. This has extended double the amount, like twice the size when I first got it. It has new heads. I would say about 4 or 5 new heads. Same thing with my Duncan coral. When I got it, it was just 2 heads. Now it has 1, 2, 3, 4. I believe 4 more heads growing, baby heads that are growing. Let's see what else. I also have a bubble coral as well too. I'd say it's probably like a yellowish green. There's a slight green hint to it, but it's more of a yellow. Really nice. It has, I would say, double the size since I bought it. Or I would say, let's just say it grew about 4 or 5 more heads since I bought it. It was not in good condition, but it was also cheap. It was, I've seen some places where they're selling it like 4 times the price. So that was a good one. It was barely surviving, but I still bought it because to me it looked like it had potential to grow and survive. So I bought that. And then yeah, so at this moment these are the only corals that I have. And then down there you can see I do have a royal grandma fish. So those are the only 2 fishes I have in this tank currently. And this is my tank. If you remember, I only had that pump, but now I have 2 circulating pumps. I thought this was a wave pump where it does random flows in the water, but I don't know. That's what it said, but it's the same consistent flow, but it does have them facing each other. So the flow in my tank is a lot better now, and my corals definitely like it. The light is the same, no changes in the light. It's doing very good at keeping these corals alive, and they're growing steadily. Some of them going faster than others. Some are growing very slow, but I would say like my hammer coral had 3 heads that came together. Got for like about $60. At the end, I ended up only saving 1 head. Other 2 died off. I think they were already unhealthy from the beginning when I got them, but this one survived, and it has, I would say, probably doubled in size. So yeah, so I would say that's all for today. Don't want to make this video any longer, but yeah, so make sure you guys click on the bell button to, you know, stay up to date, get notifications on my new updates for this tank. Make sure you smash the like button, and make sure you subscribe to my channel. And thank you for checking out this update, and I hope to see you guys again soon. All right, have a good night, everybody.